This is a 2005 Dodge Magnum RT with a Hemi V8. I've had a clunking noise from the driver's side rear area. Gosh, probably a year and a half I've been listening to it, and I'm finally getting around to dealing it. So what I'm going to do is replace the rear upper shock mount. This car does not have the Nivomat shocks. It has just regular shocks, and so I guess the Nivomats are for the towing package or sport package or something. But so anyway, this is just a regular upper shock mount for the non-Nivomat shocks. And then the part number there is 04782387AB. Yeah, so the part number is on there also. I think that's the same part number, 04782387AB. So what I'm going to start with is I'm going to jack up the back of the car, and then put some bricks kind of under the bricks in a wood block anyway. Let me get my light turned here. There we go. So I'm gonna put, I'm gonna jack it up and then put some bricks and a wood block or two kind of underneath the spring perch, which you can kind of see there on the lower control arm. So that way I can keep the wheel off the ground without, of course I'm going to take the wheel off, but I can get it up off the ground without having to jack it up so high. And then to recreate the noise, what I did, and there's, on these cars there's multiple things that could be making clunking noises, from sway bar end links to this, I guess, and I'm 95% sure this is the problem with mine. So to recreate the noise, I just open the door and then push right here. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but here we go. Get some light on the subject. So from the other video I did, whenever I rock the car like that, I can feel, I felt in the upper part of the shock here, and I can feel that that clunking is coming from this flange, this upper mount right here. So that's what's leading me to believe that the upper mount has failed. And when it started, I was actually driving down a gravel road, and probably not real fast, but probably quicker than I should have been. And sometimes those roads are washboarded, and so after that I noticed I had this annoying noise in the back. So evidently it was shock related, or impact related. So I'm going to proceed and start getting this thing swapped out. I actually changed my mind a little bit. I lifted it up temporarily by the differential there, and then over here on the side I put some bricks, and if you look under the car, there's this kind of little donut thing. That's one of the approved lifting points or designed lifting points for the car. So I put these under here and then lowered the jack back down to put the weight on this, and then the jack's just kind of there as a precaution, just I guess just for extra safety. Another thing to mention, I'm in here on a flat garage floor, but if you're, this is a rear-wheel drive car, so if you're on any kind of an incline or something, chalk the wheels really well in the front, so that way, if you lift the back off the ground, there's nothing to stop it really from rolling away. If your jack has wheels on it, I guess. But even so, you don't want to. You probably want to avoid jacking on a surface that isn't flat to begin with. But if there is a little bit of an incline, it could potentially start rolling from you. So chalk your wheels up good. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get this wheel off of here and see what we have. Okay, the wheel is off, and so the next step is going to be to loosen these two bolts right here. They are 16mm bolts. That might be kind of a odd size. Let's see if I can. There we go. This one. Yeah, 16mm may be kind of a side, abnormal. This is an impact socket that I had, but I don't think I have a 16mm in my normal socket set. So let's see if we can get these things loose. Alright, I'm going to back these out and we'll check back in. Okay, got the bolts out, and this thing will, you can just compress it down by hand. So let's see if I can, there we go. So I'm gonna get a combination wrench and maybe some vice grips or something to hold that the top of the shock shaft from turning, and then loosen that nut to get that off of there. At first glance, I'm not seeing anything that's really looks way out of, like, totally destroyed, but maybe when I get it out I can tell better what's going on with it. So I'm going to do that. Okay, I got the old one out. I don't see any like the bushing is destroyed or anything in there. So, I don't know. I guess we'll find it. It looks like there might be, you can kind of see that line right there by my thumb. There's one there and then one kind of there. So I don't know what to make of that. I did notice the part number on here is it's the same number, but it's a AA, and then the new one is, where is it? Is AB. So I guess this has been revised somehow. But looking at them, I'm looking at them side by side. I don't see. I guess there's some. Yeah, that shape feels the same. And I noticed of course, probably just being new, I noticed that the rubber bushing is a little taller, but it's just probably because it hasn't been compressed at all. Like this one. That one there looks a little flatter. And then that way, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to fix it or not, but I guess we'll find out. And then I pulled this piece off too. This is the top of the cover of the shock, and then of course there's the bump stop. And so I'm going to clean the top of that. It's kind of a metal cap, and then this part's plastic on the bottom. I don't know if I can get the light down in there. If I can, yeah. So it's just a metal cup with this plastic tube attached to it. And the inside of that, I don't see anything in there that looks like it's been hitting anything, but I do want to clean all that crud off of there. So I'm going to clean that, and then get the new, well, I'll get it put back together first. This nut here is a 15 millimeter, and what I ended up doing was I just used my adjustable wrench on that flat part of the top of the shock shaft, and there were 5 threads that were showing on the top. It was pretty tight, but it wasn't terrible to get apart. And then of course this washer here, I'm going to clean all of that junk off of there, and then it's kind of dished like, you know, like that, and it says on there, where is it, top, yeah, you can kind of see it right there, TOP, top. So I'm gonna get all this stuff cleaned and then put it back together. Okay, I got it clean on there. I used I just used WD-40 and a green Scotch-Brite pad. That stuff was pretty caked on there, but it cleaned up pretty well. And then on here, this cleaned up all right too. I did both sides. On the bottom, it was strange. It was almost like a wax, like candle wax on there or something. I don't know if that's something that's supposed to is supposed to have been there, or if I don't know. I've never heard of that, but it sure did feel like just like a white wax was on there, and I could scrape it off with my thumb, and so I did that, and then I used the Scotch-Brite with WD-40 and cleaned this up. So I guess if it's supposed to be there, let me know in the comments. That would be great. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to start getting this put back together. Alright, it's put back together. I've started these bolts here and left them loose, and so I'm going to put the wheel back on and let the vehicle down, and the torque spec on that is 38 foot-pounds. So I'm going to let it down and then torque those bolts. The vehicle is back down on the ground, and the spring holds the weight, so let's see if I can loosen it. There we go. Yeah, so see, it still will move. I just had finger tightened it. So I'm gonna we'll torque these down to 38 foot-pounds. It feels like it's close to being there. Boy, sorry y'all, this is kind of tricky to do with. Well, I tell you what, I'm just gonna stop the camera and finish this, and y'all have to take my word for it. I can report that there was no difference by replacing that upper shock mount. Sad to say, but I do have a plan. Stay tuned.